Sometimes I feel like I'm a really shitty friend. Like sometimes the boys will call me and, tell me they're doing this or that, and I just don't go with them. Sometimes I miss the past. I miss what it would have been like to chill with my ex's family, with her siblings, and just have a good time. I kind of wanted to raise those kids. Same way I kind of miss playing Minecraft back in the day. Damn, I do miss those kids. Can't lie to you. I still do remember that one night where it was me and her siblings were just all over the place, and it was maybe 10 p.m., way past their bedtime. They're like 12 and 9 years old. And it was just me and her, and we had to put those kids to bed. And man, somebody gave them sugar beforehand. I think it might have been us. We might have cooked ourselves. And we were trying to put the first one to bed. And he's bouncing off the walls. He's like, Namin, can you read us a bedtime story? So we read him the bedtime story because he promised he'd go to bed after that. Kid's a little liar. Absolutely. We turn off the lights and close the door. And I just remember that kid is absolutely bouncing off the walls. So we leave him in there like a monkey in a cage. And then we go to put, the other one to sleep. Her sister. Almost a daughter. And she's way more civil. She's the older one. So all she goes into her bed, which it had like a zipper on it. Like, imagine you have a blanket, but it stays where it is because there's a zipper on like all sides of your bed except for where your head is. And she got in there, zipped the whole thing up, and was like, "Can you go grab me a stuffed toy from one of the baskets?" So I went and I grabbed one of the stuffed toys and I just gave it to her. If you ever watched Inside Out, there's this like concept of core memories. That for me, that's one of my core memories. It's one of the reasons I want to have a family. Maybe it's just the feeling of having a shared purpose with somebody else, but it's magical. Kids running around. The kids just add something to your life because they don't take things seriously, They just kind of, I guess you could say the reality of the world hasn't hit them yet, but I think it's the opposite way around. I think we forgot the reality of the world, and they're just the ones who haven't forgotten yet. Because they're not worried about a job or how their aesthetics look. They know what life really is. It just is. So they just be. And in the way they be, it inspires us to be. Another part of me knows that I am extremely unprepared to have kids. But another part of me knows that I'll always be this unprepared to have kids. So I'm not really worried. I guess I just know what's coming. But one day I was sitting on the couch and just staring at the wall, as I do. And it hit me that I think I could raise a son okay, but I think it would be incredibly hard for me to raise a daughter. You know, I heard a saying, I think it's an Arabic saying. I think I remember my Islamic friend saying this. He said that they have a saying where it's a man who can raise a daughter like well gets like a free ticket to heaven, you know? Because it's so hard. And as I was sitting there, I was like, you know, God, the universe, he's going to give me 3 daughters because he knows I can't handle daughters. And I just know it's going to be true. You'll see me like years from now, you'll see me with my 3 daughters, you're going to be like, damn, he called it. I know it deep inside my gut. That's how the universe is sometimes. It knows what it needs to do to test you so you can grow, but it doesn't push you into the deep end. Unless you are too afraid to jump in the pool, you know? Somebody's got to push you. Man, one of the worst things for me is heights or like trampoline parks. Because to be really good at it, like in a trampoline park, to do all the tricks, you have to let go. You have to be afraid of like falling on the trampoline on your back and trusting that you're not gonna die. The trampoline's gonna push you back up. And man, I suck at that. I'm so stiff. I'm like a 30-year-old man on that thing. It's hard for me to let go. And I think that carries over to other aspects of my life too. I think the more little moments we open in our lives for peace, the more kid-like we become. Just amazing. We're so focused on external problems like money needs to be made, business needs to grow, relationship has to flourish, I have to get a girlfriend, I have to prove something. So much time is spent on these questions. I remember I'd pull out a whiteboard and I'd be there for like 2 hours just like going crazy in my cold ass basement trying to solve whatever problem was at hand. Need to make money soon before I graduate. Need to figure out what's going on, you know, social standing. And now it's like, dude, none of that's real. The real problem is that I let these things like fester in my mind. The real problem is that I never sat still, never just talked. You know, inside of us, there's this like kid that just wants to be heard, you know? Can't lie, I suck with little kids. I really don't think I could be a good babysitter. But the kid inside of us, he just wants to be heard. He wants to let you know that maybe he's hurt because of that, or he's sad because of this. And that's it. You know, he doesn't want you to fix the problem. He just wants you to hear him out. It's just like with girls, with women. When they come to you and they talk to you about, oh, this happened and that happened, and there's this problem and that problem, they don't want you to solve it. If you're Rizzy, or you're just a good, you know, lover, you'll know what I mean. They just want you to listen. They want to be heard, and I mean really listen, not some half-assed listen where you're watching the TV or you're pulling out your phone. I mean really listen. That's all they want. It's the same thing with your inner kid. When he tells you he's sad or he's angry, it's funny because you don't need to actually solve the problem. He just needs to be heard. And then he'll move on and he'll be happy and smiling again and looking forward to something else. And it's a great time. But you'll also know that if you try to solve the problem with a girl, it never actually doesn't go good. She's like, and then this happened, and then this girl said this to me, and you're like, do you want me to go talk to her? No, 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 don't go talk to her. Sure, I can go talk to her. No, I hate how you always do this. You're always trying to prove something. It gets worse and worse and worse. But if you sit there and listen and go, oh, I understand, baby. I understand. Then she starts, then she'll finish and she'll say, I'm glad we talked. Same thing with your inner child. It's amazing to me how peace is right. Like, it's a turn of the corner. And yet nobody really wants to do it because it means letting go of problem solving, of what feels like control, but I'm telling you it's not. How many problems have you solved and yet you still feel somewhat the same? What makes you think that the next problem is going to be the turn of the corner and it's going to make you feel amazing? It's going to change everything. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that my first dollar is going to... Well, I've paid my first dollar. I'm not convinced that the first 1K is going to change anything. I'm not convinced that, no, an amazing wife will truly, truly change anything. David Data once wrote, "In the Way of the Superior Man." First fucking chapter, actually. It's like, don't hope for things to change. Something like that. Don't wait until things are different to give your fullest gift. You know? Because nothing will ever be different. Truly, if you're an introspective fella, and you can really feel, you know that nothing's actually changed ever. You know, Alan Watts once brought up an amazing, thought. Like, we came from nothing, and then we leave as nothing, you know what I mean? Like, we're born and then we die. Who's to say we aren't born again? You know what I mean? Like, almost like it's like a line, and then like some of it is colored, and that's when you're alive. And the other is dead, and that's when you're dead. And the other's colored, and that's when you're alive. And it just alternates. Like sun, like day and night. Who knows? Who knows? I just hope you're living as you. I love you guys. Just remember, nothing's really that serious. It never will be. Good night. Tomorrow will be a beautiful day.